I want you just to move forward into those rows so you can participate. And while you're doing that, I've got my two sons there. They're just going to distribute to you some paper, pieces of paper. So if you could just take those, because you're going to need one as the item that'll be part of the experience, and one that you'll get to keep and take away, all right? Ignore the propaganda at the top. That's just part of my work. But, in terms of what I need you to do is just to have that sheet of paper as something that you might, be part of or consider to be with. And I hope in what I share tonight that you might take away that piece with you, that bit that's been challenged in you, that bit that we reflect on with God tonight as we've wrestled the word to think on what it is that God's drawing in you to be freed from. Tonight, I was given the verse to preach on, John 5, 1-15, which is the healing at the pool. So this is my metaphoric pool. We'll work with that, I'm sure. And I think I was given the heading to start with was wholeness to helpless. And I don't like negatives. I didn't like landing at that place of being helpless. But I actually realised as I read more of this word, the story, and I hope you see this in what we share tonight, it leads to not just being wholeness to the helpless, but the helpless then gives this message to the whole word. And I really want you to see that in the story, that this person is disrupted from where they're at through this possible divine appointment as Jesus comes, spends time with them. And, there's this great discipleshipping that occurs by someone who'd just been a disciple just minutes before. Bear with me as I share this tonight. I will change character. You'll notice, and I hope you understand as I get through that. Let's just read from the word though tonight. And I better turn that on if I'm going to make that work, don't I, Andrew? The green says go. And then hopefully that's there. Awesome. So we're reading there, John 5, verses 1-15, but we'll just read 1-7 to start with. Healing at the pool is the title. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the Sheep's Gate, a pool, just like this one here, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. And I've deliberately got their water stirred because in some interpretations that's not taken to all versions. It's not seen in every interpretation of this verse. But the detail that's in that verse helps point to what are these 5 colonnades and this place of healing. And it talks about, the angel of the Lord being on the water and the water stirred is what's there. Some say the water stirred because of what the water was. Some say that it was because of the angel that was in the water, the healing powers that was in that water. But for me, I just want us to realise the water was stirred at that point. Whether we're looking at it being supernatural, whether we're looking at it as being biophysical, biochemical, the water stirred, it moved. But reading on there, here a great number of disabled people used to lie there, the blind, the lame, the paralysed. And one was there who'd been an invalid, not a choice word, but someone who's disabled, but that's the interpretation. Someone who'd been there for some 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he'd been there in that condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" And it goes on there, "Sir," says the invalid man, "I've no one to help me into the pool. When the water's stirred, while I'm trying to get in, someone goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, walk." At once, the man was cured. He picked up the mat, walked. That day on which this took place was a Sabbath. And so the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath. The law forbids you to carry your mat." So asked him, "Who is the fellow that told you to pick up your mat and walk?" The man who was healed said, "I've no idea who it was," for Jesus had just slipped away into the crowd that was there. We read on there in the last few verses. Later, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you're well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." The man went away and then told the Jewish leaders that it was Jesus who had made him well. So because of this, Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath. The Jewish leaders began to persecute him. So that's the verse. And for a verse where I've got to find some gospel messages around Jesus, he doesn't say much in this verse. And I suppose I've taken an opportunity to think about the characters that were in this story, and particularly around this concept of being disrupted or changed. My first interpretation or thinking of this is a bit like if you watch Marvel and you know that sort of what if spin-off, what if Hulk was really partly Spider-Man? What if he was something else? Does that make sense? I want you to just take a moment and think, what if Jesus just came in and he actually entered Jerusalem as if he wasn't Jesus? What if he really wasn't disrupted that day? And I think of Jesus as he may have come in from over here in the fields, up in Judea and in the high country. And here he is thinking about his entry. And I'll speak to you as if I'm him now. I've been traveling for so long now, many months now, and just some weird stuff just keeps happening to me. I was out with my friends fishing for hours, days even, and this storm brewed up. Man, I was scared. I just jumped in the cabin, didn't do a thing. Couldn't be bothered doing a thing. I was so scared. And then, you know what? I got out of that boat that day, and I went to go see my cousin John, and he was there in the river, and he was baptizing people. And I felt something in me, but I didn't do anything about it. I just stood back. I said, like, John, man, that's your thing. You just do that. I can't do that. I can't be committed like that. I just didn't want to act. I went to this wedding later that week. And at this wedding, it was this young couple and all we had was water. There wasn't even wine to get through the night. It was a very early night. We went home pretty quickly. Not much of a celebration, but it's all they had. But I just didn't feel right about it. It just didn't do anything. Later that week, I went to the Passover in the temple. The Passover, that one where we've got all the food to eat. It's a great meal and we eat plenty, we drink plenty. It's a great Jewish festival. It's one that I went into the temple and walked into the temple and it was a bit different. Over in that corner, they were selling chickens. And in that one, they were selling trinkets. And in that one, I don't even know what they were selling, but it was something. It just didn't feel right. But you know what? I ignored it. I said, that's what these people do. I just forgot about it. I didn't think much of it. And then I left there, and there's this dude in a tree. I know he's the tax collector and all, but who'd want to hang with a tax collector? I wouldn't want to talk to him at all. But Nicodemus just got out of this tree and said, do you want to come have dinner? I said, man, I don't have time for your dinner. So I kept walking. And I walked all the way into the country because I had to be here. I've got to get here for this meal, this Purian festival. I've got to be back here for the pool. So I walked all the way through the Judean country. And there I came across, again, my cousin John and a bunch of people, like hundreds of people all getting baptized. And I sort of felt something, but I didn't feel like I had to repent. There wasn't anything I had to give up. So I'm a Jew. I know what I do. I know I do it well. There's nothing I needed to be disrupted from here. Nothing I had to confess. Nothing I had to repent. So I walked on, and as you do, such a long walk from way up in the north there. I had to come past the Judean River and back through Samaria, and I met this woman at a well. And she offered me some food and some drink. But Samaritans, we don't talk. We don't touch them. Don't get near them. So I walked the other way and kept going. And I ended up getting here. But as I got to here, outside, I heard about this, Ghanaian official, this dude way back up in the north. And his son had died. Wow. Some stuff has happened this week. I just feel so overwhelmed this week. This week's just doing it to me, tearing me apart. Being so connected to this community, I just don't know what I need to do. But ultimately, just last night, I was in the fields. And I was sitting down with the shepherds and they said, you know what, you got to be careful up here in the country. There's wolves up here, man, at night. If you're stuck out here at night, the wolves will come eat you. I didn't think much of it, but I just thought, I'll keep walking. But you know what? I'm here today. I'm at the Sheep's Gate. I finally got here. And I better really quickly get ready for this service today, because it is about being freed from oppression. I've got to wash off the dust of my feet and clean my hands and be ready to enter the temple. Wow, what a week. I've made it. Hopefully I'll be oppressed and freed from this oppression the week that was. This is just crazy. I hope you can see the character change. But that's the Jesus that if he wasn't disrupted. And I think about another character. another character in their what if, I think about the sheep's attendant. We don't hear anything about the sheep's attendant, but he's the one who's here at this well. I've been working here in this colonnade, this corner of the temple, for years. It's just monotonous, the same work, day in, day out. But man, I wouldn't have this job if it wasn't for Nehemiah. Like Nehemiah chose this spot, this rock here first. It was the first rock to be built. This was the spot where we rebuilt all of this temple, all of this. Like you look up there, we wouldn't have that if we didn't have that rock. That's the one that we needed to be thinking about. This place here was important. This is the beginning of us giving worship in our temple. This place is important. I do great work for this temple. All day long, I'm washing sheep. We're in here in this pool, hundreds come through. I know that if I get this sheep, you got this sheep, it's black. It's white. It's ceremonial clean. I know I'm going to get top dollar for that sucker, right? That sheep's ready to go, ready to be sent for ceremonial killing. It's awesome, but look at that water. It's dirty, man. Like, dirty as a sheep dip. Because that's what we're doing here. We are cleaning up these sheep. Why? Because I know that sheep is meant to represent purity. And they've been out in the Judean fields, nearly eaten by wolves, barely cared for by those shepherds out there. But they come in with their voice and we wash them and we put them over there, ready to be sold, taken up to the temple for slaughter. But you know what I love Mondays? You know why I love Mondays? Man, this water gets dirty all week. But my mate up there at the top of the aqueduct, he turns on the tap, whoosh, the water stirs and all this muck goes. And you should see the crowds then. Everyone rushes in. It's time to get clean. They're ready to get healed. But for me, I just know it's another week. Back down here, washing my hands, washing the sheep, making the money. But thinking about this, there's this one guy, he sits up here. 38 years, man. I mean, I'm working here for 20 years, washing sheep. He's been there for 38 years, hasn't moved. What's the deal with that? I mean, 40 years we were lost in the desert. He's been there for 38 years. Man, he must have done something really wrong. Not sure what, but hey, he's been there for a while. But you know what? I can't wait to be freed from my oppression of all this constant work. It hasn't stopped for 20 years, washing sheep. So we change character again. You're picking up on some information here. You're learning a bit about each of these characters, this place, this time. And we're now in this place where maybe if Jesus was that undisrupted Jesus, what if it was the cripple, the invalid, the disabled man? You know what? I've been sitting here for 38 years. I have watched that water change every Monday. I've seen it stir. I can name the last 5 people who healed. They touched that water before me and they're gone. They've never come back to here again. They are healed. I'm still here 38 years later. Israelites are stuck in the wilderness, not knowing where to go, uncertain, unsettled, never settled. 40 years, 38, I'm stuck here. I just want to be healed. But you know what? I sit here and every Jew that walks through that gate, into that pool and up to that temple, not one of them's seen me. Not one of them's helped me. None of them even bother talking to me. You know what? I'm lying here, sheep. You know, this pillow I've got back here, this pillow, look how thick it is. That's 38 years of sheep dung and probably sheep filth and 38 years of sheep stuffing to make my pillow for each night. So I'm here ready to get in that pool. And they just jump over me all day long. And man, I'm thankful to them. Some of them have actually still got some grain in them. I can grab the grain out and have something to eat. I'm stuck here. But when that water stirs, I'm ready to jump. I am the closest one here. But you know what? I am never in first. When will someone see me? Others just jump right over me, like way up the back there, launches into the pool head first before I can even move to touch. It's just there. I can't get there. When will I be healed of this? It won't be today. Today's that festival of Purim. Today's that festival. They all up there in that temple there. They're thinking about being freed from oppression. They're going to be safe and ready in their homes, have another meal. They're freed from their oppression. Me, I'm still stuck. And we think of another character that we hear in the story. And we think on the Pharisees. What if they weren't disrupted from their holy day, from their special time up there in the temple? We're Pharisees. We observe all the laws. We daily live every Jewish law to its degree. We know it. And we will show you when you get it wrong. If you get it wrong, out you go. This is a holy place. This is a special place. You can't come here. And we're always looking out for that false prophet. We've read about this. We know about this. This guy's coming. He wants to be the king. He wants to overturn the government. He will bring us in. But we're always looking for some other false prophet. He calls himself, we hear the stories, Adamah, Son of Man. He can't be that. Lord of the Sabbath, he's been healing. He can't do that. But we're going to get him. Our job is to find him. And when we do, he shall be crucified. And we will be freed from his oppression, his usurping of our power, of us in this role. I turn the table and I think back to the story of what it was, what it really was. The real Jesus, the Jesus that maybe actually was disrupted in his time, the Jesus that came from the country, Jesus that, if we think about it, I was in that boat. I was there with my friends and this storm came. It just blew up out of nowhere. Middle of the ocean there and sea, and it just blew up. And all of a sudden they said, get up, get up. And I got up and I looked out and I said, sea, be still. And what was it? Flat as ever, glass. We just sailed home like there was no tomorrow. That was the best day fishing ever. All right? And I got off the boat and I walked into the river with my cousin, John. And he baptized me. And when he baptized me, something moved in me. I felt the Spirit of our Father in heaven join me. I heard words that said, good, faithful, servant. I felt so alive. I went to this wedding over in the Galilean countryside, and I met this young couple, and I was just praying for them and praying for their wedding, praying over this water that was left, this watered down wine. And guess what? It was the best wine we'd ever had. That party went on and on and on. They were so blessed. And Lord, I was taken aback when I went into the temples. And there, in my hometown, I noticed that they were selling in that corner sheep, and in that corner doves, and in that corner idols. And I did something about it. I got in there, I was raging. I flipped tables and I told them to get out and make this clean. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted my temple to be holy. And I walked through the Jordan again to see my cousin John, and we got to the river and there were hundreds of people being baptized, and myself and my friends were there. We all baptized everyone. What a great time to see everyone repenting of their sins and giving up what was their stuckness, what held them back. And I walked further on into Samaria where everyone has to stop for a meal. And I arrived that night and I met this lady. I knew of her. I had this picture in my head, this story about her that I knew of her. I knew that she is not a well woman. I knew that she had done lots of wrong things. But I just knew she had to have the blessing. I gave her a blessing to have this living water that she shared with me, this meal and food. I gave her a blessing of the living water. It was a disruption in my walk and my time, but I had to do it. And I walked out and I caught up with the Galilean official from where I'd lived and grown up. And he said his son was dying. I felt so much compassion, so much empathy. I had to stop. I had to stop and tell him, go, he'll be healed. I walked further through the fields and I found the shepherds telling me this story about why they would keep their sheep in a pen and an open gate, and how they would sit at the door of the gate and put their staff across it to keep their sheep in, to protect them from wolves at night. It was a story that he shared, that shepherd shared with me to help me understand those sheep knew the shepherd. It was a story that he shared so I understood what it meant to be at the sheep's gate, which that door was. That's the sheep's gate that we remember when we're here at this sheep's gate. We're at this place that we're entering into the holy place, the temple, that we've been gathered and protected by our shepherd, the great shepherd. And here I arrive now at the sheep's gate, and I think of the week and the work that I have done, and I feel I am weakened. But here I come. I've come here, wow, what a week, and I have made it. I'm at Purim, and we're going to be praying and praising and hoping for and revealing ourselves and understanding how we're overcome from oppression. I'll wash my feet, I'll wash my hands, but I'll notice someone. We think of that character we all know in the story, the main character, this character, the invalid man. What's he doing? Sitting on his mat. He sat there again, as we said, for 38 years. And no one's seen him, no one's heard of him, no one's talked to him. And he's really wondering, when will I be healed? And all of a sudden, this man steps out of the sheep's gate pool and he steps towards him and says, I've seen you here for years. You've been here for 38 years. I've been coming here for 38 years. And he says to me, do you want to get well? I mean, man, I've been here for 38 years. I want to get well. And he just says to me, get up, pick up your mat. So guess what? I just did it. I stood up, I picked up my mat, and he said, go. I was cured. I went. I've got to go. I'm out of here. I didn't just walk, I probably ran. I ran all the way, which is over half a kilometre up to the temple. I've run up and I've had to tell everyone in the temple. I wasn't washed in that water, but I ran up to that temple because I'd been healed. I ran and I told everyone in the temple. Everyone in that temple knew me. I've been there for 38 years. They'd all washed their feet there. They'd seen me. I've run up here. They all knew me. And I was running, telling them all how great I was. Look, I'm holding my mat. I'm running. I told everyone, even the Pharisees. Then they said, who was it? I don't even know who it was. And I think, again, at this next point, Jesus disrupts him. And with very few words, he says, I see you sinning. Sorry, I see you're well again, talking to the invalid man now healed, the valid man. And he says to him, stop sinning or something worse will happen to you. And that's all we hear from Jesus. It's the end of his speaking. Get up and walk. See you stop sinning. Go. Something worse may happen. And I think about those stories, those characters, and I wonder where it is that Jesus is breaking through just by that simple walk into a pool, a man, and a few words. And I wonder, which disciple are you? Now, for me to make that clear, I just want to jump back to these two slides and think about who Jesus is in this space. He's the one who can calm storms. He's the one who can baptize people. He's the one who clears temples because he's right. He's the one who gives living water. That's our Jesus. He heals people when he wasn't even present. He said, just go, and he knew it'd be healed. And all power and authority given to him by Jesus, by God, as Jesus formed, giving it out to the people. He picked up stories by living with people in the fields. That's our Jesus. If we come to that invalid man or invalid man, the disabled man, the man who stood up, he'd been there for years. He could have chosen not to get up. He could have stayed disabled again and again. But he got up. Got up because of what Jesus said. He got up because of the power that was given from Jesus to him. I'm not going to dive into that, but that's the power that Jesus can offer. In few words, Do you want to get well? Giving you permission. In a few words, get up with your mat. I suppose that's the challenge I want to lay with you, is in few words. I want you to think about, which disciple are you? Now, I've given you 2 sheets. I'm going to give you a minute. On the first sheet, I want you to be thinking around, are you like that? What's that in your life that might be undisrupted at the moment, that you're just not paying attention to? Is it that you didn't wait to be with people and instead you're rushing off, rushing to business, rushing to work? Is it that maybe, just like if I come back to who Jesus is, at that time in the temple markets, he's rebuking those who are there. Is there something in that space that you need to be thinking about, that you should be rebuking? Or are you just accepting what's going on in this world and you're not standing up or stepping up? Is that your undisruptive behaviour, or just accepting that? Do you get invited to go out with people, to go eat with them or spend some intimate time with them, relate with them? Or are you just avoiding people at all costs, not to spend any time with people? Do you think about when you come to church, do you participate in church, or are you just here and you're out? We don't have to do much. I can disengage. I just turn up, I sing and leave. I'm not engaging. So we're undisruptive because we're disengaging. So this is that word. I'm getting you to think for a minute. What's the word there that you would want to throw into that pool of Bethsaida, that bit that needs to be the oppression that's held onto, that we want to move away from? What is that word that troubles you? What are the troubles that you're into, others in your life that have troubled? Maybe it is someone ill, someone with a disability, someone having problems with their health. Are you choosing to disconnect from them when they need us to be connected? Just want you to think of that word. I'll give you a minute. Just think of that word. Write that word down. I'm going to get you to write it twice, because the second sheet's for you. Same word. I just want you to write that word twice on the other sheet, because you're going to have to now think of, well, what's the opposite of that? And you're going to keep that one. But I want you to do with that one, I want you to do that task, when we don't want something, that crumpling task. I want you to crumple it up. And Harry and I are going to hold this, and you can throw it in here. So, Harry, you want to jump onto that? We're going to catch everyone's... Hold on, I haven't got it there yet, Lockie. I know, of course you'd be the first. So crumple it up. And we're just going to walk around here. I just want to throw that first word in. What's that word that you're going to get rid of? That undisruptive. If you're ready to throw it. Put your hand up, I'll know to come round. Big one. One over there. So while you're waiting, and if you've got that, oh, sorry, Mo, that chested out. Gets a second chance because it's the brother. Stop moving it. They're trying to get it in. They've done it well. So we've got in here, right, that undisruptive behaviour. Oh, sorry, Dungan. We'll get them in there for you. We'll wash them. Now, I'm going to be clear. I'm not a magician. I am going to crumple that up. I'm not going to look at them, all right? But, we're going to do that metaphorical, magical, mystical thing. It gets washed, gets cleaned, gets taken by Jesus and gets taken away, right? That's what you've done in that action. Oh, sorry, Cass. I'll let you pop that in there. You've done that physical task of throwing it away, right? And Jesus takes that undisruptive or really potentially disobedient, sinful behaviour, right? And I want you to think of then, well, what would it be for you to be a disruptive disciple? I found this little quote and I found it lifted me, and I sort of thought around this. If you've got that word there, right, you want to do the opposite of that. But I'd love you to do the opposite of that with this in mind. Disruptive disciples are those that flame with life and with passion of God. Frequently discard, like we did then, throw away. We find that thing that is undisruptive, we're not being focused on, we're getting rid of. Discard old structures in favour of new and untapped missions. Missions that God gives us. Commissions that he gives us in the Great Commission. And ignore many of the rules. I think rules is a tight one there. We're not always referring to Jewish law rules. We're not always talking to every rule that's to do with law of government and law of society. But rules that might bind us, right? And openly break others and leave. And I think this is the bit that's hard. I'm a counsellor. I always talk to people that are unsettled. I'm always talking about people that might be anxious. We want to move out of that place of unsettledness and anxiety. But I actually think that's something God wants us in. He wants us in that place, not as an uprooted upsettledness, that we're moving on and disappearing. It's having a stirring in us, that unsettledness. Does that make sense? An unsettledness in a relationship or a conversation or a time or a moment. And if I come back to those disruptive and undisruptive, you wrote that word. What's the bit that would make it now for you to be a disruptive disciple? You keep that. You write that down. I want you to take that away. I'll give you a moment. Spend a little moment thinking to God, what is it that, God, I'm rushing. I'm rushing away too much. How can I slow down? How can I wait? Lord, I see stuff in the world. I don't want to accept it. What does that look like? Lord, I'm getting invited to be with people. I'm disengaging, I'm avoiding, disconnecting. It's easy to do that. God, what do you want me to do with those people, with those relationships? The good thing is, if you're still feeling unsettled, that's okay. And, you don't have to walk away feeling like it's all resolved. But if I can bring us back to that story tonight of the disabled man. If he was the disciple of Jesus, how long was he a disciple for, and how much impact did he make? I mean, he got healed, he stood up, he ran into a temple. He told people that he knew for 38 years. He told Pharisees about who? Jesus. It was seconds in. That was a pretty disruptive moment he took to tell everyone in community about Jesus. The previous stories of Jesus being disrupted in his ministry in his time as he came into this pool, to this place, to have this festival, to be holy, to remember. But he had disruptions. He still made it on time. But he had lots of disruptions, divine appointments, and great discipleship in making opportunities where he was there, baptizing and being with his disciples and sharing his life. Disabled man, minutes in, shared it with hundreds. Jesus, several years, shared it with thousands. What's holding you back from you having that discipleshiping moment? That's that bit that I'm hoping you're holding in your hand, and maybe you want to share with someone tonight. Maybe you want to share over dinner. Maybe you want to share with a friend. But I'd be happy to pray with you tonight, and I'm sure Dale and Andrew would too. If there's something stirring, unsettled in you from what I've shared or from what you're thinking about, that disruptive behaviour that you want to get into, positively disruptive behaviour, then let's share that tonight. But I'll close in prayer now, and I'll ask the musicians they're welcome to walk back up. But Lord, I just want to pray for everyone here tonight. Lord, I just want to thank you for being who you are. The person who truly frees us from our oppression. We don't need a festival, we don't need an action that we're throwing away feelings, actions, behaviours that get in the way, Lord. Lord, you've freed us from that oppression. Lord, let us live in your freedom. Lord, let us have moments that we can see, we can share with people, share your love with people, share your insight with people. Lord, give us more opportunities to share our lives with all those around us, whether that's at work that we don't want to be at, whether it's washing sheep or washing sheets at home as a mother, or having to be the father that's at 12-hour shifts, Lord. Lord, just pray for us to have those opportunities wherever we go, whatever we do, we're able to share more of you. And Lord, just thank you again for tonight, this chance that we might get to share and be free from oppression. Share with our friends, share with our pastors, share with our church in a meal, in a moment. Lord, may we be able to be found constantly going and doing your will in those divine disruptive appointments that you give us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray.